Hello and welcome to Inland Empire Alive, bringing you issues, events, and perspectives from throughout San Bernardino and Riverside counties. I'm David Brady, and on today's program I'll welcome P.T. McEwen to talk about a local group for adult fans of Lego. That's today on Inland Empire Alive. Well, excitement has been building since I knew I'd be talking to this next guest. Please help me welcome P.T. McEwen, the RLUG ambassador of the Inland Empire Lego User Group. P.T., welcome to the program.
Thank you, David. It's nice to be here.
So let's start with the basics. What is a Lego user group? Most people know what Lego is. Lego is the building block, the toy that's been around for so many years. What is a Lego user group?
So the Lego group created ambassadors, created groups of fans. And so they are adults that enjoy building with Lego. It's a wonderful medium. And so the Lego group created user groups for that. And so they are actually recognized and registered with the Lego group. And
So you touched on an important point. Tell me about this term. Do you say AFOL or AFOL? It's adult fan of Lego. And that's something that people may not be familiar with. They think, oh, Lego, it's a kid's toy.
It is a kid's toy, and a lot of us grew up with it when it came out in the 70s and 80s, and remember building with it. But going back to the title, you could go either way. You can go AFOL or AFOL is what they'll call them, and which just stands for adult fan of Lego. They do T-fols, which are teens, and K-fols, which are kids, but it's an A-fol, and that's just to recognize that, I build with Lego. I still enjoy building with Lego as an adult.
Well, talk to me about what it means to be an adult fan versus a child. There's got to be a distinction, and certainly you must have to defend it against people who are, who make that assumption that, well, these are just for kids, right?
Yes, I personally would have to go through that. My wife, when we were first dating, was like, what? And I'm like, no, Lego? That's for kids. That's a toy. And I'm like, no. It's a wonderful medium. If you're artistic, and you like to build, it's a great medium for that. It's like using clay or paint. It's just plastic bricks. But I'm sorry, and I apologize. I forgot your question there.
I was just talking about, the distinction between being an adult fan versus a child. Certainly the passion is there, but the way you express it,
We have, as an adult fan, you obviously have more discretionary income than when you were 13.
You hope so?
Yeah, when you were a 10-year-old, and and it was all allowance, and hey, I'll mow the lawn, mom or dad, or I'll clean the dishes, do the dishes or whatnot. But and so it really, for an adult fan, there's a couple things. It's one, you have more discretionary income, and you tend to buy more sets. The other thing is we also, like any hobby, there's conventions. Last week I was in Portland, Oregon for the Bricks Cascade, which is one of about a dozen conventions in the world that the Lego group supports. And so they have some of their people there from corporate. We have fun doing competitions, we do builds, and we display mocks, which is kind of what I brought here.
What is a mock? We got to put that up on the screen. M-O-C.
Mock. Mock stands for my own creation. It's so if you go to the Lego store, you buy a box, a set. You pull it off the shelf, you build it, you enjoy building it.
Comes with a set of instructions.
With instructions. Now, let's say you have a different set, and then all of a sudden you mash the two together and create, a totally different, building. You can build like a post office, or build a set of a studio here.
Something that Lego never put on sale,
produced.
Never designed.
Yep, and that's a mock, so my own creation. And so at these conventions, we all come together, and we turn around and we build, and we bring all our mocks together for display. We usually have the first few days or day and a half is just us, and then usually we open up Saturday and Sunday to the public. And you'll have, I think in Portland, had a little over 8,000 people over those 2 days come through and get to see all these different creations that all these adult fans built.
Are people ever surprised that there is this camaraderie, there's the community? Because it almost seems like building with Lego would seem to be like a very solitary pastime,
Well, it is. I think people do it for different reasons. I mean, for me personally, it was very much therapeutic. Definitely as a young professional, you have stressful days at work, and to be able to sit down and just build something, and an hour, 2 hours later go, look what I accomplished. I feel good. It's a way to like kind of Zen-like, get out of just focusing on one thing and forgetting all the worries in the world. And yeah, and so it is. It's very therapeutic in that sense. But it also, it's a creative medium. Like I said earlier, it's an art form. I did not bring a mosaic, but there are mosaics you can do along with, these 3D sculptures and whatnot.
So let's talk about, when did the Inland Empire group start? Because it was kind of a spun off of some of larger groups that are further to the west.
Yes, Lagola, which I'm also a member of, they've been around for a lot longer. There was a group of us here in the Inland Empire. Susie Lentner was the first ambassador prior to me. She formed the group in 2014, and then in 2018, the Lego group recognized us as an actual lug, which comes along with some support and other things that they do and help us out. But we also have to do shows in the community, which is one of those things. So we bring our mocks here, and we'll have a show somewhere in the community. Most recently was actually I think it was an Easter celebration the city of San Bernardino put on. And so we had some stuff there, and then we also bring what we call play brick, which is just loose brick for kids and adults to play and just build with. They build it, leave it on the table, and then at the end of the day we tear it all down and put it back in and for the next event.
Well, let me ask you this. When we're talking about those events where you have the big plastic tub and there's thousands of bricks and it's just, hey, build something according to this theme. How do you get from that to this, to the type of things you see in the theme parks, the type of things that go into museums? Because there's something to just building with random bricks, but this requires specific colors, specific pieces, and like you said, you may not have the discretionary income to have a wall of parts that you can pick from. How do you make that transition?
So I think it's kind of the evolution is so you buy sets. First you buy sets. And then instead you turn around and you say, I'm going to buy 3 of these sets, and I want to make the police station or the fire station, and I want to make it bigger. And so you combine those 3 sets, just based off of, and it has probably some elements from the instructions that, doorways and things that you like. And then you go from there, and then sometimes you get in and you say, hey, I want to build, like a flower or something, or I want to build miniature buildings. Then that's when you go to like the Lego PAB wall. PAB, pick a brick.
I know what these actually stand for.
But yeah, there's a PAB wall. So if you go to your Lego store at the end, you'll see a wall of elements in the back there.
And it's a la carte. You said you fill a cup.
Yeah. So you fill a cup, and so actually, these 2 taller buildings here are literally the elements. There was one little triangle piece that is really the structure of this tower, and then this turquoise kind of fender piece. I saw those, and I just filled a cup full, and I said, all right, I can do something with this. And so
what about the engineering? I know that there's some software that you can get. Some of it's free that helps kind of pre-visualize before you actually start, assembling.
There is the Lego group acquired Bricklink, which is another place to find bricks online. But what it is, they have Studio, which is free download software, both Mac, PC format, and you can build. It has all the elements in there. You can even get more creative because you can say, I want this in blue or pink or purple, and that element may not exist in the world. Like Lego has not produced that element yet, but virtually you could have that. So it is a way to just to produce your creations digitally without actual physical bricks, which a lot of creators do because they may have small space or maybe don't have as many bricks, or sometimes you do get frustrated, like I'm missing, I need 3 more of these pieces to complete this, and then but that way digitally there's not that. That is all taken away. There's space requirements, the elements and all everything are right there for you. So.
Tell me about some of the favorite sets or themes that you had as a kid.
Ooh, well, I was that kid that with classic space, 70s, 80s, it's a blue, gray theme.
Oh,
yeah. So
Benny the Spaceman.
From the movies.
Broken chin band.
I had some of those spacemen with the broken chin helmets. That's exactly right. That's where I kind of gotten into it, and I stayed with it all the way until about high school. And in our term, we use the term Dark Ages. That's when you stop playing with Lego, and then you pick it back up. I picked it back up as a junior in college and said, oh, wow, this is, I remember this, and it just brought a lot of things back.
It's remarkable how much that mirrors my own life, because
What you got, David?
I actually started with Lego in 1976, prior to the minifigure with this set. This is police units. I believe it's set 445.
Wow.
This is not the actual set that I had as a child. I actually, it was long gone, but I reacquired it on eBay. And similarly, I went through a period as a kid where I was just fascinated with the idea of building not only what came with the instructions, but then building other things. Then, outgrew it, then got back into it really heavy in college because the sets had gotten a lot more elaborate, a lot more complex. And then my third phase was I actually worked for a time at Legoland in marketing, which was fantastic because I got to meet the folks that do those amazing builds in the park, those three-dimensional, the White House, the Capitol, hundreds of thousands of bricks. So it has been a wonderful passion for me as well. I wanted to ask, talk to me a little bit about some of the builds you brought. We've got a couple minutes left.
So real quickly, I just brought, so this is a standard called my Micropolis. A friend out in Minneapolis started this, and it was basically where you can come together, and I'm sorry, I'm gonna pull this apart, but you can come together, and here's a quarter block, and they have the standards, the road with the sidewalks. Well, so you could build 1, 2, how many you want, and you come together, slide them in, and now you have a full block, city block. Now imagine this multiplied, 15, 25 times, and now you have this entire city that you can redesign every time
you
you
take the modules and turn them and...
move the modules around. So I brought that as an example of kind of a micro scale. The other thing I brought was just kind of organic. This was a flower I did for Halloween last year. To kind of show how it's not just square corners. You've got kind of curves and things. And then in front I have what we call these minifig habitats. And so you take a minifig, it's a specific standard scale, and then you build a scene with it. And so I have Prince John from the recent Disney 100 collectible minifigs. And then in January they released Series 24, and there's a little spaceman battling a little space alien. And then for today, I brought the studio, brought it down to minifig scale.
I didn't know if I could ask something like that, but you read my mind.
So there we are, sitting there across the table having a conversation.
Wonderful. So were there any particular challenges in replicating the colors or the pieces?
Fortunately, I had what was in the studio, although I didn't realize I put the walls at a 90 degree, they're angled here. It was kind of hard to tell in any wide shot, but and then I would say, I'm sorry, I didn't quite match, like your suit is probably the wrong.
Well, you didn't know.
I didn't know what you were wearing, and then the hair.
Fortunately, I have more than one outfit, unlike the minifigures usually.
That's true. So it is. Lego is just a wonderful medium, and it's not just for kids. It's for adults, and we have friends that are in their 70s and 80s still building. They enjoy doing it. So my advice to mom and dad, and before you give away the kids' Legos when they're in college or something, ask them first, and then ask them again, and then ask them a third time, and then the third time you can donate the Legos, because you never know.
If you're going to donate them, don't donate them to donate them to somebody that's going to enjoy, make art with them.
Yeah. Actually, I have to laugh. A friend of mine is coming from the Central Valley this weekend, and he's taking his nephew's Legos. They've asked. I said, make sure, because he said, hey, do you want them? And I said, well, yeah, but you got to ask. And so they asked him, and they're
got to go to a good home. Where can they learn more about the Inland Empire Lego User Group?
So you can find us on the web at tielug.org, tielug.org. And you can reach out via email through there. You can follow us on Instagram, or we have a YouTube, which isn't as active, but yeah, that's where you can get us. And we love to come out and do shows. So cities, communities, events. We're throughout the Inland Empire, from Temecula up to Victorville and Coachella Valley out to Ontario. We have builders that we all come together and help do these displays.
Well, PT, thank you so much for being with us in studio today. It has been a delight. I couldn't be more tickled at the rendition. Thank you so much. I would love to have you back sometime to talk more about, I could talk about this for hours.
We can do that, definitely. I can bring in some other builders. So David, thank you very much. I appreciate it.